Hi, so I'm Holly and this is Caitlin. I'm just going to present a bit of information about our Campus Pollinators project with the Living Lab. So why have we chose to focus on pollinators? They're really a key part of many ecosystems. Reliance for plant reproduction is huge, and this has a massive impact on many sectors, but a main key one that we've highlighted for us is UK crop production as well as global agriculture production, which is really, really key and important. But obviously with pollinator numbers declining at the moment, we need to make sure that these services are secured and aren't put under threat. And as we've looked further into research, we've seen that urban areas play a really crucial role in this. And that's why we've looked into doing this in our local area on campus to make sure that we support the pollinator populations.
So this is a Living Lab project. The Living Lab is basically a scheme run by the university which aims to bring students, operational staff and academics together with the aim to create sustainable solutions to global issues that uses the university as its testbed. And so this is exactly what this project does, because we're looking specifically at pollinators on the campus, but we're relating it to much wider issues that have global impacts. And so the overall aim of this is essentially to assess the potential that the university campus has in order to increase and support urban biodiversity. And so we're doing this by assessing the campus pollinators, their diversity across campus and existing foraging opportunities for them. And then with this information, we'll create maps of hot and cold spots, so identifying areas of increased pollinator activity and where they specifically are across the campus. Then we'll use this information to inform the university's biodiversity action plan, informing them on ways that they can increase suitable habitats and also the connectivity between these habitats in order to really support these populations.
So who's involved? We've got us, the Campus Pollinator Ambassadors. So our main role is just sort of coordinating the project as a whole, but the hands-on kind of data collection, analysis, and just making sure everything runs smoothly. We've then got the academic staff who help us greatly. They sort of oversee everything we do, make sure that we're aiming in the right direction and that we've got all the things that we need to make sure we make a success of everything we do. The sustainability service who really help with equipment, data, everything that we could think of. We've got residential services and estate services who also help to support us. And then finally our volunteers who we're wanting to expand a bit more, but at the moment they help us with sort of our roles as we have a lot to do at the moment. So we selected 3 sites across campus. We've got St George's Fields, Central Campus, and then Southwest Campus. So with these, we as a team decided where would be best based on a map of the different habitats across campus. We then went out and tested these, adjusted them as needed and made sure that they were working as they should for the data collection we needed.
So each transect is roughly 1 kilometre long and we take about an hour to walk it. So we try and break this down into 15 minutes for every 250 metres that we do. And we always try and have out 2 spotters, so these people are responsible for identifying any pollinators, and this includes pollinators just flying by, but also pollinators landing on plants as well. And if they do land on plants, then the plants are also identified and noted down. And then we also have a third person who is basically in charge of mapping the route, make sure we stick to time, and actually collecting all the data points down for us. And so to map the route, we use an app called Strava. And this is an app you can just get on your phone, and it basically tracks exactly where you walk, and it gives you a time and distance as well. And then this can all be saved onto the app, so we can come back to it at a later date. And then when a pollinator is identified, this is marked down as a waypoint, and the exact GPS location of it is found and saved using Google Maps. And then so after the transect is complete, we collate all this data and upload it onto a bigger data sheet that we have.
So we then do fit counts, which are flower insect time counts, which go back on that same transect. We make sure that we use, obviously, the pollinator monitoring scheme that's used by the UK as a whole, and isolate flowers that are going to have high abundance or high activity, because otherwise we wouldn't be looking at anything in particular. So we use a quadrat, which is making sure we're looking inside the right space, not outside of it. And we still have 2 of us there to make sure that we're identifying the species and the genus level if we can. And yeah, we basically have to do this during warm conditions, so during sort of April and September.
So we began collecting our data last summer after our initial trials, but we don't currently have enough data to do proper in-depth analysis quite yet. but we've made some ArcGIS maps. The one that we've made for St George's Field is up there, and we've put on one of our data sets on there. So the purple line going across it is where we walked for our transect, and that was taken from Strava, so that shows the exact route that we walked for that particular transect. And then the points along it show where pollinators were seen, and so the size of the points correlates to how many were seen. So the bigger points shows that more were seen at that particular location. And then so once we collect more data, we'll be able to keep adding to this. So we've got some hypothetical data points here showing how when we get more, we'll be able to identify areas of increased activity, and then how we'll be able to use this to potentially identify the hotspots around the campus. And so we'll create this for all 3 of our transects, and then this will be the basis of the information that we use in order to advise the university further.
So the successful development of our methodology means that we've been able to use it as a baseline for wider species monitoring on campus. So we're hoping to expand this to sort of bats, birds and small mammals. We've already done an RSPB bird survey guided walk around St George's Field, and as you can see, we've got some pictures from some camera traps that we set up. So that's hopefully what we're going to do to expand it in future. The grounds team as well have also asked us for our data to help ecologists with their accessibility project. As I mentioned, we've had the Let Nature Sing RSPB guided walk, and we also had a school come over from Osaka in Japan, and we got to sort of go through our transects with them, talk to them about data collection and pollinator importance, so that was really interesting and cool.
So we have quite a lot of future plans for this project. First of all, we just need more data really for all of our transects. At the moment, this is just kind of a waiting game for the appropriate weather to return so we can continue to do this. But we also have plans to collect data in other ways. So we'd like to do some moth traps, some bat transects, footprint channels and bioacoustics work. We'll do this all along the transects that we already have existing, so we'll be able to link all of this information together. And we hope to start inputting our results onto iRecord. This is a citizen science project, which means that anyone can upload species sightings with GPS locations, and it basically provides a really wide biodiversity record that scientists can then use for things like conservation, research, and education. And then we also have collaborations with some organisations, the first of which is the Be Curious Outreach Festival. So this is coming up at the University of Leeds. It will be in the Parkinson building on the 28th of March. So we'll have a store here. We'll be engaging with the public about our research, but also about the wider issues that we're tackling. We'd also like to get some involvement of student societies. The aim of this to be that we can have data collection and have the project as like a long-term thing for the university, so that this can continue for many years after this particular project. And then we'd like to also further collaborations with RSPB and other organisations such as the British Hedgehog Society. So we are looking for volunteers to help us collect this data. This will be mainly the transects and the fit counts. We'll give full training to how these need to be recorded and done. And there'll be resources given to you, and we'll be there to help you also with identification skills. So if you are interested in this, you can come chat to us. We'll also have a sign-up sheet at our poster stand, or you can email us at leadspollinators@gmail.com. Thank you very much.
Is it already on? Yeah, got it. So first of all, do I have any questions they want to ask to begin? Yeah?
Are you going to expand the survey to habitats where species lay eggs and all that sort of stuff? Where the homes of these species are going to be, rather than just the plants that they're pollinating?
Yeah, well, so I think these transects, they're our initial things to kind of see where they all are currently, to try and figure out like where they're using it. But there was also, we talked about it would be interesting to look at like this accessibility work going on in St George's Field, which might alter where they are. We haven't thought specifically about where they're originating from, but that could be something interesting to look into.
Yeah, I was just thinking if that's the area, that's the transects where they're going, for the pollen, etc. That if there were habitats there that supported the increase of that species in the same place, would that be beneficial? Or
I think we do already have a beehive in St George's Field, isn't there? There is already a beehive there. I think we've got some rooftop beehives around campus, but I don't know if we've got any more other than just the one in St George's Field.
Because suppose what I'm getting at is it's great that they're pollinating where they are, but if their habitat where they're breeding is being destroyed because it's a mile down the road, then maybe we need to do something about that. That's really what I suppose.
Yeah, I think that would definitely be something we should look into for the future for this. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. Anybody else? I'm going to run around the back. Yeah, that's all right.
So once you've found the hotspots, what's an example of a solution that that the university could implement to protect the hotspots?
I think what we'd want to do more than just protect the hotspot is we want to kind of replicate it, so create a corridor for where we've got cold spots. We want to go, okay, if there's a hotspot here, we want to make sure we've got more of these connecting the hotspots, because pollinator corridors are really important. They won't generally migrate in a way if they don't have that kind of security of knowing they've got a food source or somewhere to shelter. So it's kind of making sure that we're, even though we know high nectar flowers and what they are, making sure we go, okay, well, if this particular habitat is working, maybe we should replicate this around different areas in campus.
Great question. Anybody else? I've got a question.
Okay.
So you might have mentioned it already in the presentation, so sorry if I've missed it, but the bit where you're getting your pilot data, so you kind of go around St George's Field and they've got the hot spots and the cold spots, how do you make sure there's no bias with that, you're not walking towards a nice plant with flowers on it compared to then an empty space?
So we did sort of test where we were going to do the transects before, and so we sort of looked at some of the sustainability service had a map of the different habitat types, and we kind of drew a kilometre sort of transect that went across the different habitat types to make sure that we were covering not just, we know that there's going to be loads of pollinators here, but also where there might not be. And so we're trying to cover as much as we can. So there is obviously going to be slight bias for that kind of thing, but trying to eliminate it a bit more.
And what kind of habitat types did you find? Is it quite a mixture of things?
Yeah, there's quite a lot across campus. So we had a habitat map that was already created of what's around campus already. So there's patches of wildflowers, there's quite a few different types of grasses. There's
wetland areas, places that are a bit more marshy, near the ponds and things like that.
And I think there's also areas that were more just urban. They didn't really have that many particular flowers or grasses, and some of our transects run through those areas as well.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And did you was all that data taken on one day, or was that over different days?
Yeah, so that particular transect was just a 1 hour, of our transects. But then once we do more, we'll put more on top.
And I'm assuming on different days you'll have to take different external factors into account, because obviously weather's going to be different, things like that. So kind of how, because some days I'm assuming pollinators aren't out on when it's particular weather conditions or
when
wind,
it gets
or
colder, windier, cloud cover and things like that can affect it. So that's why we use Strava and the exact sort of GPS points. Is that way we could go, okay, well, when we were here, what does the Met Office say it was like at that point if we can't remember? And then when we do the fit counts, it's easier to kind of, whilst we're doing that, go, okay, well, the winds change, the level of cloud cover has changed. So that way we try and take into account that information, because it could have an effect results on it.
Yeah. Brilliant. Thank you. And that's me. Has anyone else got anything burning? No, we are running a bit fast for time, so I'll go on to the next presentation, but we might not start for a couple of minutes yet, so just kind of talk amongst yourselves. So can I get the final presenter up here, please? Thank you.